Every time you get a chance to witness this scene, you feel lucky. Nothing like it.
Man, this is what it's all about. This is what college football is all about. I've said this is the best scene in the country.
I love and appreciate you guys. Understand this. We didn't get here without every single person in this room. We got here together. Let's finish this thing together. Everybody got me? Let's go do this thing.
Welcome back to Whiteout Weekly as Penn State finishes a disappointing season, 7-5, after another heartbreaking loss, this time to Michigan State. Wasn't the season we expected when we started the podcast, finishing 7-5. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And we also have some breaking news on Penn State defensive coordinator Brent Pry heading to Virginia Tech. But first, Dave, let's just briefly go over this last twist to the gut spilling over my thighs right now. Loss for the Penn State this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the loss it just kind of went with the ebbs and flows of the season. Defense giving up those quick 2 first quarter touchdowns was very out of character. So the snow certainly didn't help. Cool atmosphere to watch from watching on TV perspective. But
always
going
love
down
the snow games. Always love snow games.
But going down early to a team that, obviously Vegas was favoring us, and you had all the rumors and the swirling news of the flu bug and that it bit Michigan State just like it did us versus Rutgers.
Yeah, well, I heard so much about that I was so confident in Penn State. Like I was so confident after they got the flu, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, boom.
Yeah.
Cashing all my bank on Penn State.
It was not a matter of like, are we going to win or not? It's by how much,
Yeah, I think that was some propaganda spread by Sparty Nation.
So I think with that, I mean, I think you could look at Franklin and that coaching staff. Did they have them ready, or was it too much looking into that type of stuff? Did that, that's just having the team prepared, ready to go. I know you're coming off. It's the last little piece of a downward spiral of a season.
Yep.
So it could be a game that's tough to get up for. Michigan State, on the other hand, going for 10 wins, going for an historic season for them. So, but very uncharacteristic of the defense. Like I said, to get down early. It had some big plays. Dotson kept him in it as best as he could.
King.
But it was just, I don't know if it was Franklin chiming in or Yursich, but continue to trying to get that run game going when really the real success was coming from the pass game. And Clifford threw 3 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over.
Yep.
And honestly, if it were me, I would have let him throw the ball more, or I would have let him sling it around a little bit more than he did.
Yeah.
So
I think the elements might have.
Yeah, I think the elements played a role for sure.
I think the coaches might have overestimated him. In other words, like
I think so too.
Sean Clifford's not the greatest thrower in the snow. They were probably like, we're not gonna call plays that we would call on a sunny day, especially if it's snowing. You know what I mean? So they were definitely cautious in their play calling with not wanting him to turn the ball over.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, got down early, quick, battled back, clawed back, but they just didn't have enough jabs to throw back at Michigan State to come out on top.
Yeah, great boxing analogy. But yeah, back to your point, going down early against one of the premier running backs in the league, Kenneth Walker went for 138 on 30 attempts, so 4.6 yards per tote for him and a touchdown. And that game really cemented the fact just how much PJ Mustipher meant to that defensive line. Not only as a man who will demand a double team, allowing Tangelo to get one-on-one with the guard, open pressure up, but his ability to split those double teams and stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
So I think him going down, that was a very, very underrated part of our season that we should have looked at more, been like, oof, that's a big blow to the run defense, which has really suffered down the stretch. And last thing I want to say is just, same old story. We go into these games against Michigan State, against Michigan, against Ohio State, and every game for, I would say, James Franklin's entire tenure, we have been mismatched in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never a good feeling. And even this Michigan State team, like this was not like a premier pass rushing unit at all in the Big Ten this year. They got 13 pressures on us, 13 total pressures, 4 sacks on Clifford. And out of those 4 sacks, only 1 came from a blitz. So 3 were just straight up 5-on-4 pressure. They also had 2 hits and 7 QB hurries. Versus Penn State's pressures, we had 8 hurries. That's it. No QB hits, no sacks.
Yep.
So I said, broken record, but trench warfare. That's how we have to win. Trench warfare.
Yeah.
And even just looking at their blocking, like they all graded above 70 in pass blocking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a mismatch of trenches, and it just pisses me off every single year. I don't know if it's the coach's fault, the development's fault, but we do have news on the defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, heading for, I don't know if it's greener pastures. I call them greener in terms of money, pastures. Now the head coach at Virginia Tech. So with the way the defense played well this season, secondary is phenomenal, linebackers were all phenomenal. With the way this defense has been trending upwards, who do you think are some possible names that we can possibly hire to keep the trend going up and not kind of flatline here?
Yeah, I mean, there's for sure some names out there that are swirling around. And first, before we get into that, I think with Brent Pry, first of all, I think you saw the outpouring support on Twitter with how he was revered from his players and coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Franklin always talks about continuity, and that's the key to success with the coaching staff. Pry's been his right-hand man for 11 years now, 8 years at Penn State. But seeing him move on to take on a Power 5 coaching job is pretty cool to see. Waiting for the right opportunity. He has ties to Blacksburg. I think he was a GA under Frank Beamer, and a lot of his defensive strategies or philosophies came from Beamer. So good to see, him get that opportunity, but it's another role to fill. You've had the revolving door at offensive coordinator over the last 3-4 years. So this is going to be a really key decision here of who you backfill with.
Mm-hmm.
One
thing is, I remember Joe Moorhead got a head coaching job at Mississippi State. Is this now the second defensive offensive coordinator that we've had go to get a head coaching job?
Well, Power 5, yes. If you count, we had Ricky Ronnie, who was in there at OC before Moorhead, who's the head coach at Old Dominion.
Okay.
And funny enough, Old Dominion squares off against Virginia Tech in the first game next year. So that'll be a cool little Franklin disciple matchup.
Yeah.
But from a Power 5 standpoint, yes.
Just those two.
Yeah, just those two. So some things to watch out for too is Pry going to try to grab and take some guys with him from this Penn State staff.
I did not. Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect.
But you got D-line coach John Scott, who as of this week was in some pictures coaching. Usually this time of year or this week and last week and this week are out on the recruiting trail. So I think I saw some photos where John Scott was with Franklin on some in-home visits. So that's a good sign. Pry was not with them, obviously, with this news that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to look at too. If Pry tries to pry any coaches away from Penn State, take them with him. But yeah, so I think looking from you want to get a good hire here to keep, Pry did a really good job. And we said it on Twitter, restoring the roar with LBU
for sure.
You want to make sure this, like I said, this week and next week, you can hang on to the recruits that you got. They got a loaded class, 25 commits in total. So you want to make sure you hang on to those guys first and foremost.
Every single one of them. Yes.
And that the DC that you're bringing in bonds and gels well with those guys and also the guys that you already have in house.
Yeah. Do you see it being more of a in-house promotion to defense coordinator, or do you think we're looking at possibly other programs?
I think they go external. I think the only internal option you really have would be Anthony Poindexter, who's the safeties coach right now, who obviously did a phenomenal job this year with Brisker and Brown.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
He served as a DC in his past life, I believe at Purdue. So he has some experience there. So
his past life.
So I think he would be your best option in-house. But some other names that are floating out there, you got Elijah Robinson from Texas A&M, former Penn State D tackle as recent as 2011. Served as a GA and some facet of a D-line coach under Bill O'Brien when he was here.
He's A&M.
So he's got those Penn State ties.
A&M D-line coach, you said?
A&M D-line coach, yeah.
Okay. Hey, A&M this year in the SEC is ranked 4th in sacks. Alabama 1, 43, Georgia 41, 2, Ole Miss 40 at 3, A&M 39. There you go.
Yeah.
So
I think he'd be a good hire. You got Oklahoma State DC Jim Knowles. Oklahoma State this year, obviously on the brink of the playoff, heading into championship weekend, the Big 12 championship game. Oklahoma State #1 in scoring defense this year.
Okay.
And I think they're up there in total defense as well.
I was going to say Big 12 defensive coaches always scare me.
Yeah, so that one numbers say for themselves, but is like you said in the Big 12 a little nerve-wracking. Stretch one here would be Marcus Freeman, the DC at Notre Dame. A lot of player support and in-house support for him to get that job at Notre Dame as the head coach. So
I was going to say, because Notre Dame with Brian Kelly going to LSU, I mean. They must be in shambles right now. Like if they lose the DC too, like I was about to say, that would be
that would be
cleaning house.
But yeah, and then there's some other names floating out there. My favorite though, I think would be Sean Spencer. So he served.
Where's he from?
He served under Franklin as recent as 3 years ago as the D-line coach, and he is now with the New York Giants.
Oh, hey now.
Just personally, I just love the dude. He's a hype man. If you look up some of his hype speech videos when he was here at Penn State, he's enough to make you run through a brick wall. So obviously he's got the familiarity with the program with Franklin. So he's a name to watch out for. I don't know if he would make the jump back to college. He's had some good success with the Giants over the last couple of years. But he would be my name to watch out for. I would love to bring him back.
Did he play or go to Penn State for college?
No, he was with Franklin at Vanderbilt, and then just kind of followed along with him, along with Pry. But yeah, so those are really the key names that are floating out there. Some other ones out there as well.
I'm obviously hesitant on him because of his Giants ties, but I'll watch some hype up videos on him. Maybe it'll sway me the other way.
It'll sway.
So besides some changes to the coaching staff on defense, we have obviously some seniors that are going to sadly depart. Great additions to the Penn State legendary status that we got going on. But what are some other players that have the option to either go to the NFL draft or come back to Penn State, Dave? That's not what I'm interested in.
I got a list for you, so I'm going to throw them at you. and I want you to give me your
Bring it on.
prediction, your hot take. Are they staying or are they going?
Will I stay or will I go
Will
now?
I go?
Give it to me.
So first, he got linebacker Brandon Smith.
Brandon Smith. I think he's staying.
I think he tests the waters and sees where he's at, just like any prospect would. Had a solid year, but still some concerns with him where he tries to make the big hit a little too often.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from wrapping up, from a totally biased perspective, the depth at linebacker concerns the shit out of me heading into next year.
Yeah,
especially with Ellis Brooks' departure.
Exactly. That was my main reason for him staying was Ellis Brooks leaving. He can now take center stage in that linebacking core, possibly up his draft stock instead of he might go like 4th, 5th round, maybe upgrade that and do like a 2nd, 3rd round if he has a decent year as the primary linebacker for us next year.
Yeah, for sure. I think for him, if he stays, him and Curtis Jacobs, who took a big step up this year, especially late in the year, I think those two could be a pretty formidable tandem.
Yeah.
All right, next. Our guy Tiggs, Yair Brown, safety.
He had a really, really good season.
Yeah.
In terms of turnover production, playing next to Brisker. It's sad to say, but I think he's going to be gone. I think he's going to go to the draft. Safeties are a recently premier position now in the NFL draft, and I think he's going to grade really well at the combine if he does go. And I think he could end up being like a late day 3 pick. Mm-hmm. So I think he's unfortunately going to go for the green and go to the NFL draft.
I think he will too. I would love to see him take the Brisker route and come back for that extra year and be a leader on this defense next year. I think that would. It seems a little too obvious that would work out, and that you would see another step up from him next year. But I think the draw of the NFL with the way he played, I think he finished with 4 or 5
interceptions this year. Yeah.
So I think he'll get a good draw, a pretty decent grading. So I think that'll lure him away.
Yeah, sadly. And then Sutherland, another senior, is gone. So that safety spot's looking a little thin.
Yeah. Well, yeah, safety too. And I think I just saw yesterday, maybe the day before, Tyler Rudolph, safety, has already entered the transfer portal too. So getting pretty thin there. Next year, you're looking at.
I think we some versatile D-backs though. Like I think Hardy can possibly play like a safety spot, maybe a Kalen King.
I think luckily secondary is our deepest position group. Mm-hmm. So I think you're okay. But you just don't want to lose, any more there.
Even a Joey Porter, he might fit perfectly as a safety.
Yeah, that could be a good fit too. All right, next. Seemed at one point as a surefire, offensive lineman pick here, but missed the last 2 games of the year for some undisclosed reasons. Rasheed Walker.
Gone. We talked about this. You saw his body language towards the end of the season. He knows he's going to go in the 1st round or 2nd round at the latest. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's been checked out for about a month now, knowing that he's going to the NFL. So, gone for him.
Yeah, I think he's good as gone, too. All right, next one. This might be a little shocker for you here. Okay. All right, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Noah Cain. All right. So maybe not necessarily the NFL route, but you look at what's coming in. Yeah. You had Kevon Lee, who was toting the rock, last few games here.
Yeah. Majority of the carries.
And you got to look at what's coming in. You got Nick Singleton, who as of, I think today, just earned his 5th star According to 247 Sports.
Let's
Still
go.
rated as the number one running back in the country from Governor Mifflin coming in next year.
So you got the number one QB, number one running back.
Number one QB, number one running back. And
how about that, folks?
And you got a nice little second prize here. You got Katron Allen from IMG Academy, also coming in the door as a true freshman. Both Singleton and Allen were named finalists for the high school Maxwell Award, Offensive Player of the Year.
And they're both coming to state.
And they're both coming to Penn State.
Let's go.
So
yeah, that's tough. I could definitely see a situation where Kane looks at other schools that are in need of a veteran senior running back with a lot of underclassmen. So yeah, I'm gonna say gone for him as well. Damn, it's 3 straight gones.
All right, I'm gonna give you another one.
Only one today.
Devin Ford, another running back.
I think he stays. He's what year is he?
He will be a junior, I believe.
And he was on the. He'll be a senior next year.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. He's same as Kane.
That's another one, sort of like Noah Kane, where if he finds greener pastures, I've said that 4 times this podcast. But if he does find a team that is going to be like, hey, you're the running back one here, I can see him definitely being gone. With the Kevon Lee getting those touches towards the end of the season, and with the 2, just freak running backs that we got coming in. But it also leaves the door open to kind of tell one of those guys, hey, you might not be the 3 down back that we kind of promised you, but you're going to get enough time splitting carries with Kevon Lee where you're going to have a substantial amount of tape to send to the NFL and possibly get drafted. Right. So one of those 2 will stay.
Okay.
I'll say that.
All right. I had to save the best for last.
Mm-hmm.
Your QB1, Sean Clifford.
Can he take the COVID year?
He could come back and be a 24-year-old starting quarterback.
Who's that Florida State quarterback? Maybe it wasn't Florida State. Ken Dorsey, something like that.
Yeah, Miami.
He's like 27 playing against 19-year-olds.
Or like Brandon Whedon.
Always cracked. Yeah, Brandon Whedon was like 25. Always cracks me up when that happens. Even in basketball. Like you have those those seniors who are like 24-year-old men playing against 18-year-olds. That's a tough one. That is a real tough one because we did see a little bit from Christian Bayou.
Mm-hmm.
Bayou. And he looked good as a true freshman coming in. So if you add that to the 2 talented quarterbacks that are coming in this year, I don't know. You don't want to put too much pressure on those young kids that early, but if you have 3 premier young quarterbacks, that'll be a nice little competition during the off season and see who can come away as the leader of the locker room and who has command of Yurchich's offense the best. Yeah. So I'm gonna say he's gonna stay, but I honestly, because of the reasons I just said, I want him gone. Just because if you have those 3 talented young quarterbacks, I want a little competition, see who gets the best. I think that can send us to another level.
So for me, I think, and I know I mentioned this before, where it's some of these conversations, especially with the COVID year, are going to be tough because it's a 2-way street here. It's got to be mutual. I don't think this would ever leak, but my sense would be that Cliff would want to come back, but I think Penn State would say thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, it has to be like, oh, I didn't know that. The school has to sign off on it too.
Yeah. With
that's
that
the thing
extra
with
year
Penn State
eligibility,
when we talk about
say,
the family thing is like,
yeah,
how are you going to do that to Clifford, who's been he's been fighting for you all past two seasons?
The reason I say that is, you got Drew Aller coming in there, and not, as a nice consolation prize, you got Bo Perbulo coming in as well, who's getting a lot of player comps to Trace McSorley, which you love to hear, coming from Central York. But Drew Aller, number 1 quarterback in the country, number 3 overall recruit in the class of 2022. Penn State offered this kid when he was outside the top 400 as a 3-star, and stayed loyal, stayed committed. You got the number 3 overall player in the country coming next year. Would love to hand the keys over, but still, he's an 18-year-old kid. You don't know if he's going to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So the decision around Clifford, I think you got to look to, is especially with this age of college football with the transfer portal, and I'm sure they're already looking, is those names that are out there already that you could possibly bring in that could be an upgrade from Cliff and still be a little bit of a bridge to give Aller a year to get acclimated to the program, get him in the weight room for a year. You got, and listen, this could be, I know this is a reach. You got Spencer Rattler.
No.
In the portal.
No.
You got
Dylan. No. I hate Spencer Rattler. I hate him. He's an Instagram quarterback. He does like cool behind the back throws and stuff. He's no.
Just throwing it out there. You got Dylan Gabriel from UCF.
Yeah, I like him.
Coming off the broken collarbone,
injury
but
prone,
he was good. You got Jacob Zeno from Baylor, who I don't know if you remember. He subbed in for Charlie Brewer in that Big 12 championship run a couple years back.
Okay.
Got beat out this year in the QB competition. And then Ohio State with the loaded QB room, Jack Miller has put his name in the transfer portal. He had some off the field problems this year, early in the year. I think he got pulled over for DUI. So he's got some off the field issues, but highly touted prospect. And there's probably going to be more to come. So just something to keep an eye on, not only at QB, but other positions too. You got Dotson, obviously, for as great as he's been. You got Parker Washington ready to step up, but I wouldn't be surprised if we look to nag someone from the portal to help bridge that gap. And then with what you saw out of Ebikete and Tangelo this year, the portal is going to be huge. You got, like I said, you got the 25 recruits in the class of 2022, but not all of them are going to be ready to go next year. So they're going to have to connect on some swings in the portal to help us out next year.
Yeah, and we will be obviously constantly updating you on Twitter, Instagram with all the transfer portal moves that the Nittany Lions make. Everyone who stays, everyone who goes, every roster update you will need. Follow us on social media. We gotcha. So, Dave, I think you know what time it is. It's the
Bonanza.
The final week of the Big Ten betting Bonanza.
I can't believe it's here.
Right up next. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the finale of the Big Ten betting Bonanza Season 1. I will now reveal what we have been fighting for this entire season, what all the blood, sweat, and tears have gone into. Cue the SpongeBob.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Let me make sure it looks good in the camera. Boom.
Oh, let's go, dude.
The Big Ten trophy right there.
Oh,
There will be more added on. This was just the basic concept I thought of. But this will be the trophy we're fighting for.
Trench warfare, 10-pound
if you ever get a very
go.
heavy package in the mail, You know you won. There it is in all of its glory. Took me about
USPS or UPS drivers will hate us.
Took me about 6 minutes to do with Sharpie. Pretty
Love
proud
it.
of myself. I feel like it represents the
pretty.
Big Ten. Yeah, well, it's used up. You can tell.
It looks like a Big Ten. Looks like a Big Ten rivalry game trophy.
Exactly. And that's where we're going.
Battle for the 10-pound dumbbell.
So yeah, that's how big this is right now.
It's huge.
I'm honestly sweating, shaking, seeing this thing in person. I want to win it so badly. So let's review the season so far. Dave Barron went 24-15 in his Big Ten bets. That's 61.5%. Almost hitting 2 of 3 bets every single week. Phenomenal job. However, with our scoring system, he only ended up with 22 points. The way we do the scoring system, you bet underdogs, money line, you get more points than just straight up spreads. Myself, it was so close. It was so very, very close. I finished 21-18. That's 53.8%. I wanted to get 55 so I could call myself a professional Big Ten gambler. But maybe after this week, I will be able to. So my money line bets actually gave me 26 points to Dave's 22. So that's where we stand in week 13. Dave with a 4-point deficit. So originally I thought, let's just go all the conference championships and just do 3 that we like the best. But that goes against everything we stand for the Big Ten Bonanza. So Dave, since he's behind, is going to pick a spread bet. I cannot pick that same bet at all. I have to either go 6 points above what he picks, if he picks Michigan, who's favored, -11, or I have to go Iowa, whatever, using that. Same with the total. Team totals are in play as well. And then the last part is we're going to pick 2 anytime touchdown scorers, non-running backs. So you can pick a quarterback to run it in, wide receiver to catch it, or a punt returner or a specific defensive player to score a touchdown. And if you pick the special teams or defensive route, you get +7. So that could be your move to win. But it could also be a terrible move because it might not happen. So with that all being said, Dave, your spread bet for the Big Ten championship game with Michigan going against my most hated team of all freaking time, Iowa.
So I am going to go with, as much as this game lines up to be one of those classic ones that Harbaugh chokes away, not going to go with the full game spread here. I'm going to take Michigan first half -6.5.
My first half. Steal my first half thunder. That was going to be my bet. I for sure thought you were going to pick Michigan -11. Like for sure. God fucking damn. All right, well, I got to re-strategize now. I guess I might have to just go with Michigan full spread at -11. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to go full spread, -11.
All
right. Hopefully they can fucking hang on. So for my total, I looked at the total 43.5. That scares me because even though Iowa does have a good run defense, Michigan can just put up points, and I don't see Iowa scoring too many points in this game. So if the over was going to happen in this game, it would have to come from Michigan. So I'm going to go with Iowa team total under 16.5.
Ooh,
Yeah. That's it just feels gross writing down. Less than 16.5. I think it's, let me check it one sec. Yep.
I think
16 and a half under -110. So that will be my my total bet. On to you. Can't do the same bet. Obviously, you don't want to.
I'm gonna go with Michigan again here. I think they are gonna put up points on this fraudulent Iowa defense. I'm taking Michigan team total over 27.5.
So we're both on the same mindset that Iowa fucking sucks. Michigan's gonna roll in this game.
We're just saying it different ways. We're just saying it different ways.
That's my belief. But these, I mean, yeah, either way, like you're down 4 points. So if you hit spread total and an anytime touchdown score, we're tied up. But I also have to lose all my bets. So I'll let you go first. Who's going to be your first anytime touchdown score from either squad?
So my first one's going to be, and this guy killed Penn State when we went up against them. I'm going to go with wide receiver from Michigan, Roman Wilson.
You fuck you. That was mine. They're going to go Caleb Johnson, dude.
Stealing all your thunder. Hopefully I steal those points too.
Oh, man. That just flustered me.
I am shooketh.
All right, Roman Wilson it is. I could totally see that happening. So I was not expecting that. So, yeah, I'm going to go Caleb Johnson as my anytime or Caleb. What do I see? Caleb Johnson. Cornelius Johnson as my anytime scorer.
All right. So then for my other one, I do think Iowa will get a score here. Obviously, we can't go with a running back, so I'm going to go with a little bit of wild card here. Wide receiver Charlie Jones.
Ooh, Charlie.
That
could be your ticket.
That could be the winning ticket.
This is what we'll do. We'll make, if you get an anytime touchdown score right, that's +2.
Okay.
Just because that's a little more difficult. And then, So, for my final one, I want to, let me see if I can find this here. I'm debating between two calls right now. Actually, I'll just tell them what you are or what they are. Cade McNamara.
Ooh.
On a little like QB option where they know Haskins is going to go right at the middle and he just kind of keeps it and is prancing in. Or what's his name? AJ Henning on a punt return or kickoff return touchdown. But I don't think Iowa would be that team to let up a special teams touchdown.
It doesn't seem very Kirk Ferentz.
So I'm gonna go with Cade McNamara rushing touchdown.
Waltz it in. Oh, I'll throw my
play's
remote
gonna be
TV if I see that happen.
Everybody's crashing on Haskins, and he's just gonna literally waltz in, bootlegging to the left. If that happens, that would be absolutely insane.
Oh man.
All righty. So we got it. There are currently 1, 2, and then the 4, 6. So yeah, you can definitely come back and win this. If I suck and you hit.
Need that dumbbell.
This is what we're fighting for, ladies and gentlemen.
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. More will be added. I think I'm going to do like every year. Right, like the name, the number of points, the right records. There. But so this will be effectively our last episode of Whiteout Weekly until the bowl schedule comes out. At that point, we're going to do an entire bowl special where we pick every single bowl game going head to head. You can follow it on Twitter. And speaking of bowl season, there's no better time to sign up for the Parx Sportsbook app than right now during bowl season. I love bowl season. Like, it's one of my favorite times to bet of the entire year. And then you got Christmas basketball coming up. It's amazing. So download that app, Parx Sportsbook app, and enter the promo code Whiteout. You get a risk-free bet up to $500. So you can use that during bowl season on a little bowl game you feel a little confident about. Maybe it's your team playing in it. Maybe you save for Christmas Day basketball, a little parlay. Use that code Whiteout and get rolling for this holiday season. Make some money. Make some money. Get some presents for your family.
Throw it all on the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. What else you had to lose?
The Cheez-It Bowl. That's what I'm saving my 500 for. Favorite bowl ever. So all the bowl matchups are technically announced, I think, Sunday, the 5th of December?
Right after the last, I think after the SEC championship game.
So we will be taking 1 week off next week, unfortunately. Sorry. But we'll be back the week of the 13th with all the bowls ready to be predicted. First bowl game, I believe, is the 17th of December. So we'll have an episode out before that. Guys, wasn't the best year. 7-5. We had high in the sky apple pie hopes, but we gave it our best shot, and we are still Penn State, still a family. Future's looking strong. James Franklin, decade deal. And last thing I just want to say is thank you guys for paying attention and listening to us every single week. We did not expect this amount of support and following this early, but we thank each and every one of you who tunes in every week from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on for the ride, guys. Love you guys.